Salutations, everyone. Welcome to the Crypto Truth, where I give you the truth as I see it. Please forgive my hair. I just woke up this morning. All right. I really want to have a nice little chat about the cryptocurrency space, in particular Bitcoin. As some of you might have surmised, I recently made a comment on Twitter about Bitcoin. I was listening in on X about a particular subject about I think it said who the hell is selling Bitcoin, and I forgot the other part there. But the conversation was like really, how should I say this? The cryptocurrency space seems to have an ability to bring out a lot of people who just seem extreme. They seem, how should I say, it seems like they lack the ability to really criticize their own project or currency or money or whatever it is that they want to label their project, right? And I'm going to say this before I get started. I don't have any Bitcoin. But the reason why I don't have any Bitcoin is not that I don't believe that it has a future. I don't have Bitcoin because I don't believe that it's going to profit me in a way that other currencies or cryptocurrencies are or will in the future. I don't have the ability to purchase a Bitcoin. I was thinking about it. I don't have the ability to purchase a Bitcoin. I don't have the ability to hang on for something that is worth so much in our society right now, and just hold on to it for another 4 years, right? Or for a length of time. I'm not at that stage in my life yet. So there is no point in me having Bitcoin. Now, having said that, there are a lot of people out there who believe that the conversation that I was listening to really rubbed me the wrong way. And I've heard this viewpoint. They let an individual talk, probably not part of the panel. And I was thinking to myself, I'm like, oh my God, like, it sounded like a religion. It actually sounded worse than the people who are, I call them holomaxies, It was even worse. And I'm like, look, I get it. I get that projects have a vision, right? But this guy came on and he was like, well, I don't have a lot of Bitcoin because I sold all of my Bitcoin. And he's like, the reason why I sold all of my Bitcoin is because the purpose of Bitcoin is for it to be used as a currency. It's not meant to be held. And so if I sell it, that means that I keep it circulating and I spread out the Bitcoin. And he said something along the lines of Bitcoin's vision. And I'm like, oh, wait. So, I'm like, slow down. So in my mind, I'm like, you're trying to tell me that the reason why you sell your Bitcoin is because the only way for other people to actually have Bitcoin is for most people who have Bitcoin is to sell Bitcoin, which means that it cannot be earned by the normal everyday individual. It used to be. It's no longer the case, right? And the normal everyday individual like you and I, the only way we can receive Bitcoin in Satoshis is to offer a product and tell someone, hey, pay me in Bitcoin, or purchase this in Bitcoin, and you use the Bitcoin. That's what he was saying. He sells his Bitcoin by actually buying products and different things using only Bitcoin, because that is the vision. But it's a very inefficient vision, right? To me, anyway. You can't. How should I say? One individual, or even because he's not the only one who's mentioned this. I've actually met a couple of people who stated that they're selling their Bitcoin, and because how can it spread? Well, that just tells me that its value have to be convinced, because there is no reason, or there's no ability for a normal everyday person to earn it. And this is what I have an issue with Bitcoin. Not that I made an hour video. I mean, actually it was longer than an hour. Probably very few people of you saw it, but it's still hanging out there somewhere in the ether. But to me, Bitcoin will only be a store of value. That is it. Ultimately, it's going to be a store of value. Ultimately, it's going to be like gold. And I don't know how long it will last. I believe that it will last an extremely long period of time because of the protocol. But as far as making it a legit currency, making it calling it money, I guess we can't call it money, but it's one of those things to where I don't see it. I don't see the rationale behind a person or individual holding, let's say, what Bitcoin's right now, and I got it pulled up right here. Bitcoin right now is we'll just say $67,000. Well, Bitcoin $67,000. If I have 2 or 3 of them, and well, first off, if you have 2 or 3, or let's just say you have 1, and you come across a house that you absolutely love, and you need to put, I don't know, 20, 30, maybe $40,000 as a down payment, and you don't have the money, you're probably going to sell that Bitcoin so that you can purchase that home. But if you are extremely hungry and you got 2 or 3, Bitcoin, or let's say $67,000 worth of Bitcoin, and you cross a restaurant and you're like, man, you know what? I don't have any cash on me. Somebody just stole my credit card. I don't really see anybody saying, hey, walking into IHOP, because you can't, but walking into IHOP or a store and say, hey, I want to use 0.05 or 10 Satoshis so that I can purchase a meal. I don't see that happening anytime soon. Again, like I stated, I also believe that the format doesn't allow for Bitcoin to be used in that manner, because of the fact that you have so many people. You got BlackRock, you got Fidelity, you got ARK Invest, you got all of these individuals, and they're just piling on Bitcoin, and they're hoarding all of the Bitcoin, which obviously gives them power in the future. It will. Because the price is going to increase as the dollar, we're not going to talk specifically about the dollar, but the dollar is just being eaten away. And so why I don't understand this mentality that, oh my God, Satoshi's vision, like Bitcoin is perfect. It's the perfect money. No. And there was an individual that was talking on X, and he was just stating that, something better would come along than Bitcoin. And he said that Bitcoin is outdated. Now, I think what he meant to say was Bitcoin, the blockchain technology that Bitcoin is run on is outdated, because you could have a different blockchain a different distributed ledger technology and put Bitcoin on it and make it better, right? So I think there's some kind of confusion, like, oh, Bitcoin's evil or Bitcoin's bad, and Bitcoin is like, it's not gonna. No, Bitcoin is better than TradFi or traditional finance. Bitcoin is better and has more use cases than gold. Now, from a physical aspect, that is not true, because gold can be used for many different things. However, from a financial standpoint, it makes no sense as a store of value, because Bitcoin works better as a store of value. Okay, so let me go ahead and get into this, because I have a lot to say. Obviously, I don't think that anybody should be, I mean, just in the crypto space. I don't really know what's happening here. Like, people don't do their own, they don't do their research. They don't really have critical thinking skills to where they can kind of have a unbiased opinion about something that they believe in. I just don't, I don't understand. All right, so let's go here. So this is just basically an overview of Bitcoin, definition, basics, and how to use Bitcoin. I'm not going to get all into this as an entire article, but I'm just going to read a couple of things. How does Bitcoin work? Each Bitcoin is a digital asset. It can be stored at a cryptocurrency exchange or a digital wallet. Each individual coin represents the value of Bitcoin's current price, but you can also own partial shares of each coin, which is Satoshis. The smallest definition of Bitcoin is called a Satoshis. Sorry, you guys. Sharing this, I haven't read this yet. In particular, I've read some parts of it. Sharing is named with Bitcoin's creator. Each Satoshi is equivalent to 100th million. One Bitcoin, so owning fractional shares of Bitcoin is quite common. Now, one of the things that I want you guys to be aware of, and while I'm just going to bring this up, because while I'm reading this article, many people who are, I'm going to make this analogy, and I hope you guys don't take it the wrong way, but I'm going to make this analogy. Many people who are like Bitcoin maxis, they really talk about the price, right? That's the main thing, because if everyone agrees that the price is acceptable, then that's what makes it value. That's what gives Bitcoin value. That's a very dangerous slope. As we know, back in history, just because a people or even across the world or even a slight village or wherever think that certain things are valuable and they're really not valuable because they're all over the world, it can be used very much against you. However, using scarcity as a way of stating the value for something is also very dangerous as well. So, and it's not really efficient as far as creating money and currency. Now, I'm going to make this analogy, people. I see in the Bitcoin space that people who are Bitcoin maxis or really love Bitcoin, like love Bitcoin. One, it's because they feel, and they are right, that Bitcoin is better than anything dealing with traditional finance, anything better than what we have had before. And their argument is that what out there is better, what technology runs better than Bitcoin. And that's a very dangerous slope to side, because Bitcoin is a cryptocurrency, not a distributed ledger technology. Blockchain is the distributed ledger technology. And again, like I stated before, when we break things down, you have to have the ability to think and separate these things, because understanding that blockchain technology is indeed an older distributed ledger technology. It's the first. It's old, and there are more efficient ways to do things. And now we get into this conversation about, oh, well, is it secure? It's more secure than bank. A lot of their conversations with Bitcoin is always comparing Bitcoin, or the Bitcoin, the coin, to banks. or the blockchain technology to banks and TradFi. Okay, so but their thought process is exactly the same as those who are in TradFi or a bank, right? Their thought process is, oh, and I give you a great example. A lot of people look at Bitcoin and they say, well, it's going up, it's going down, the Fibonacci, whatever the crap is called, like, oh my God, like it's going up and going down. We got the double shoulders down and different things like that. All of these terms are from the stock market. So you're literally treating Bitcoin similar, or reading it similar to a stock. And this is most people, right? And when you do that, you're now having the same thought process, because now you consider that as the value, right? And you have the same thought process as those who you're claiming that you're better than, or that the project is better than. It's the same thing. And I don't understand why they don't see that they're looking at Bitcoin in the exact same way that people look at or view money, the dollar, or the stocks. It's kind of depending on if the individual is looking at it from a unit of measure or a store of value. But anyway, my analogy was this. I've met so many people, with me being, I'm Black American. I know some of you guys couldn't tell. It's okay. I'll fix the camera. Many of you don't realize that many Black people that I've talked to in the past, they realize that their actions and the things that they said and the things that they did, they were like, well, white people this or white people that, and their thought process, not that they're wrong, but their thought process was the exact same thought process as the people that they don't even like in the first place, or that they disagree with. And I think a lot of times people have to really understand, we have to change our thought process. Many of you guys heard me say things like, I see myself as a human being first, before I see myself as a country, before I see myself as black or white, before I see myself as anything else. I see myself as human. Why do I say that? Because my thought process is that as a human being, that comes first. Everything else, that how either society might see me or how I see myself, should come later. Because we all are human beings. We all breathe. We all have blood. We all have hearts. We all have brains, most of us. And it's one of those things that, okay, how can we make sure that we stay on the right topic and the right path, and go and have a change of mindset so that we can better the human race? And that's the thing. And I'm going to say it like this. For a lot of Black people that I met in the past, how can we change things so that we can better the community, and improve on it, and still consider ourselves, and for most part, firstly, human, so that we can fix the issues and the problems, not necessarily just put a patch over it. But that takes a whole new line of thinking. If you think the same way, and say, oh well, well, white people have this and that and everything, and they did this and they did that. Well, you're already programming yourself to think like they do, because you want the same things that they do or they did. And let me put it this way: the culture, the American culture. I'm just going to talk about American culture. We can see that clearly a lot is not working. So we have to kind of reverse engineer our brains and say, okay, that isn't working. Let's take out that part and put in the new part so that we can now improve. Same thing with Bitcoin. When we're talking about Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, a lot of the people, they look at Bitcoin, again, as I stated before, and they're like, those people over there, they don't believe in Bitcoin. They don't do this. They don't do that. Blah, 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 blah. Or they don't understand the value of it. And then yet at the same time, they're doing the exact same thing, because now that it's been 10 to 14 years, you really think that a blockchain is going to be 10 to 14? I think Bitcoin is 15 years old, 14, 15 years old. Bitcoin is around 15 years old. You really think that there's not going to be another technology? Now, Bitcoin, the coin itself, may be just fine. The blockchain that it is run on is old. Bitcoin is slow. That is the truth. You cannot make it faster. And every time they attempted to make it faster, it has flopped. Now, are there other technologies out there that can make it faster? Of course. The Lightning Network, which is, I don't know, the Thor to the Odin of, I don't know. But it's like it's the Robin to the Batman. The network, the Lightning Network, is this second layer. And a lot of people are looking at it as if like, okay, well, it's going to make Bitcoin do this, this, and this. And now we need all of these different layers. Well, the reason why I'm such a holochain fan is because you don't need those layers, and you can use holochain as I would call it a layer 0. Like, this is ground level. This is how the technology works, right? And so I think there's a lot of confusion. And there's a lot of confusion. Like, holochains is a very awkward situation. The distributed ledger technology, I'm talking about, people, is in a very awkward situation, because we're, especially here in America, we're at a point to where they're like, oh, everything dealing with cryptocurrency is bad on one side. And then we got other people like, oh, Bitcoin is the amazing, most loving thing ever. And nobody is doing their research into actually saying, okay, well, this works great and that works great, but how do we break it down so that everyone can get what they want? Everyone can get security, everyone can have privacy, and we can have an open network so that everyone don't necessarily have to agree, but everyone who is involved with the party can assist and be a part of the ecosystem. So there's so many people. You got to really change the way they view things and think here in America, because so many people are already programmed to think a certain way without actually breaking it down and saying, okay, how do we do this better? Or how do we have a conversation about this in a way that's going to be productive? That conversation was not productive at all on X. Okay. Let's go here. How does Bitcoin make money? New Bitcoins are created as part of a Bitcoin mining process in which they offer a lucrative reward to people who operate computer systems that help to validate transactions. Bitcoin miners, also known as nodes, are the owners of high-speed computers. I'm gonna highlight high-speed computers, which independently confirm each transaction and add a complete block of transactions to the ever-growing chain. The resulting blockchain is a complete public and permanent record of every Bitcoin transaction. Now, most of you guys know that there was a short video out there on X. Matter of fact, I may pull it up because I'm pretty sure that some of you guys have not seen it or heard it. But it's saying, as we can see here, you need high-speed computers in which to create this Bitcoin or these nodes, right? So how does the everyday person involve themselves with Bitcoin? It's hard, because we have a currency. I'm just speaking here in America. Americans have a currency called a dollar. And we know that it is weakening by the second. It really is. It's harder and harder to survive. And so the ability to purchase or have a high-speed computer dedicated to possibly finding a node, which, by the way, every 4 years becomes more difficult, makes it extremely difficult for a regular everyday person. Now, the argument is as well that if I have $5, I can go purchase Bitcoin. I can do $5 worth of Satoshis, right? And everything will be denominated in Satoshis. Now, case study, right? Venezuela. Was it Venezuela? I can't think of it. Maybe, no, I don't think it's Venezuela. Maybe it is Venezuela. No, it's not Venezuela. But anyway, the country, I keep forgetting these countries because I've read so much. But the countries that are heavily, that has decided to denominate Bitcoin or use Bitcoin as a denominator for their currency has done quite well, right? And that's no surprise, because now are the people doing well? That is the question. But that, again, that is something that we won't know unless we actually go there and we walk around and ask people. Miners are paid in Bitcoin for their efforts, which incentivizes the decentralized network to independently verify each transaction. This independent network of miners also decreases the chances of fraud. And this process right here is what makes Bitcoin so slow, right? Confirm the authenticity of each block of data before it's added to the blockchain in the process known as proof of work. I'm not going to get into the technical stuff, because if I do, and there was a girl who was talking about a guy who was like, he was making an argument against Bitcoin, just a slight argument, and she was like, you are the worst, blah 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 blah, and you don't know exactly what's going in with Bitcoin. And I have a question for those people who are extremely technical. Have you done your research? Because there is no way in hell an idiot like me, who don't know much, you guys know I try to do the best research that I possibly can about, I don't know the technicals in Bitcoin and specifically blockchain technology, specifically all of these different, hash graph and how to operate all of this inside. I don't have the foggiest clue, but I do have the overall picture, and I get the overall picture. And one of the things that I liked about Holochain was the fact that a lot of people, especially in the beginning, could break down things and say, okay, well, this is what we're trying to do, and this is how we're moving forward with it. And I get the overall picture, and I'm like, that's it. That's what needs to happen. That's what needs to be done. Now, if I can understand that, why can't people who actually have this huge technological knowledge about computers and cryptographic stuff, all of that stuff, right? Your intelligence, but this girl is huge into Bitcoin, like it's the best thing since sliced bread, because she was extremely defensive over one little comment. And she was like, well, I understand the technology, and there's nothing out there that's better. Really? There's nothing out there that's better than the distributor? Now, so here's where we have to separate. Is there anything out there better than Bitcoin right now as a coin or a token? And I will tell you no. There is nothing out there better. Nothing. Is there something out there better than blockchain? And yes, I will say that Holochain is better. And see, that allows, the technology allows for a better currency, a real currency to come along. And that's the issue that I have with a lot of these, oh man, it just kills me. So I would love to hear, and I would love to discuss on a deep level with someone who, which I kind of have, because one of the co-hosts, I went to a Bitcoin meetup, and I met him, and he's a cool guy, you know. But there are a lot of people out there that it's either a Bitcoin or it's a shitcoin. Like, that's just it. There's no in between, right? And I think that's an issue. I think that's a problem. Because no one is really talking about distributed ledger technology and how to improve distributed ledger technologies. There are only 4. I put 5, bro, man, from the 5th floor, you know. But I put 4, and in my mind, I made the comment. I'm gonna skip over this because it says there are pros, cons, and cons for Bitcoin to consider. Cost efficient Bitcoin pros. Fast speed. So once again, once you own Bitcoin, you can make transfers anytime, anywhere, reducing the time, potential expenses of any transaction. Guess what? That is true for the technology that they're using in the banks. Now, as far as actually seeing what's happening behind the scenes and actually a full ledger, how the banks use it, it takes a 2 to 3 day process. Now, some of you guys are like, well, I have Zelle. Well, just because you have Zelle, it just means that it hasn't settled, but it means that there's an agreement that you have done this transaction to this transaction, and then the banks will get to it later. That's how that works. Let me go ahead and put here. So that's right. Who the hell is selling Bitcoin? So I was curious on the conversation about, okay, well, there are people who are talking about Bitcoin. So I was like, okay, well, I'll just take a look at it. And I put, it's apparent that blockchain distributed ledger technology is just not flexible enough to handle currency, which it is not. It is on an efficient level. It is not flexible enough to handle currency. Now I put Hashgraph, Holochain. The truth is that Bitcoin will be the future of store of value. It's run on inefficient tech called, and I meant to put blockchain instead of Bitcoin. But that's what it is. And so, yes, I understand. And I listen to these people and they're talking about, well, you know, I allocate 15% of my funds and I allocate this, and these are people with money. They're looking at everything from a top down viewpoint, right? They're saying, well, you know, I got 60% of my finances in the real estate, and maybe 30% here. I got about 10% in Bitcoin, and you know they have these different allocations, and they're literally treating, because their mind is working and operating in the exact same way that the stocks are, or to keep value. Now it can be said that, and this is the truth, and how we're living today, that if I was them, I'd be doing the exact same thing. So I wouldn't be talking bad about them. But when you start making comments and stating that, and not talking about the root of the issue and problem with blockchain technology, which Bitcoin is run on, now we have an issue, because we don't have an issue, but now I'm questioning your validity, because as far as how you're thinking, right? Please, you guys can please tell me if I'm wrong, but I really do feel that way. Now let's go back to that video. I think I bookmarked it. Let's see here. Oh yeah, there was this chart I bookmarked. I really like this. So I don't know who spread this out. Crypto Lurker 121. Once Holo goes live, can no longer be said about hot. That's why I think it would be great. And agreed. Look, let's take a look at this, because I really we look at the 20 blockchains below command a total market value of over more than 100 billion, despite the fact that they are unproven and have little utility other than for speculative crypto trading. Most have treasuries brimming with millions, but they answer neither the shareholders nor the regulators. Okay, this is fact, right? and I really hate to say this, but let me see here. Blah 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 blah. Okay, good. Bitcoin is not here because I don't think that Bitcoin is a good for nothing blockchain. Store value run on blockchain. Excuse me. All right, so let's see what we have here. Payments, XRP payments platform has yet to challenge the SWIFT, now threatened by stablecoins. This is true. Oh, and by the way, what are they using for BRICS, right? Because BRICS is another thing. They're like, we're going to ditch the dollar because they know for a fact that if the dollar goes down, everything else is going to go down. And they're not trying to risk that. Cardano, Ethereum competitor, launched in 2017, pioneered with cult-like following. Well, there are almost a lot of projects other than meme coins, and some of meme coins have cult-like followings, and it's crazy. And I think that honestly, it is the responsibility of these people who are, and I'll say the same thing for Holochain. It is a responsibility for those who are founders and co-founders to just go ahead and quell that stuff before it gets ugly, before it gets worse, because it will. Bitcoin Cash Mode 2017, the holy war over Bitcoin's primary function. Litecoin, Bitcoin spinoff, faster and cheaper, few developers, but used for purchases. And that's the thing. Like I used to, when there was very few projects out there, I used to be like, okay, well, I need to put my Litecoin somewhere else. And what would I do? Well, I used to put. As a matter of fact, I think in order for me to get a little bit of hot, I had to use my Litecoin to exchange it because I wasn't doing it with Bitcoin, and because obviously Holochain is still, but I would transfer it over and then I would turn it into hot and then I would just leave it there. That was before I got ledgers. What the hell is this? Created in 2021 to disrupt AWS and Google Cloud, minimal usage, internet computer. Again, you guys, I'm not gonna go through this whole list. But yeah, so I think that when we take a look at these, they haven't really changed. Now, did it take? And I have a question for you. Did it take 10 to 15 years for people? With cassette players, when DVDs came out, I would say it took about 2 to 3 years, and then all of a sudden everybody was using the DVDs, the format DVDs. Obviously, Blu-ray came along and different things like that, and so people kind of evolved. Blockchain and things run on blockchain is the equivalent of people still using. They're saying, well, we're not on the track anymore. We're on the oh man, I just said it. We're on these cassette players, and in my personal opinion, Holochain is a DVD, and I just see it that way. All right, let me go here. That's Matt Schutte. Where's the? They made a little short video. They made a little short video. Where is it? Come on. Whoops. Sorry. Oh, 8 minutes ago. The topic is legal identity, not simply identity or even digital identity. There are many use cases discussed that are important. However, I wonder if many of the use cases that lean on legal identity really need it. I doubt we can stop this train. That's true. Yeah, because it is going to happen. Legal identity. Where is I could have swore. All right, let's do this, and then maybe Where's that? Maybe I liked it. I didn't like it. All right, where? I know for a fact that I could. Maybe someone I'm following. Excuse me, you guys. I know. Watch your eyes, because I'm gonna scroll right down here. Wait. There's that. So I remember that. All right. So I must be close. Anyway, it's. I'm kind of figure out why I have it. God, come on. Well, anyway, I thought I saved it, but I guess I didn't. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and end it there. I just wanted to have a slight conversation about this whole Bitcoin topic. I would love to get into this because it's going to happen, and I do agree that we're not going to be able to stop it, and but that's only because of our All right, let me go ahead and end it there, you guys. Well, thank you very much for listening. Again, as I always state, why is obesity trending in the United States? Okay, I'm going to click on this afterwards. But as I always say, please do your own research, do not become a maxi on anything. Just please do your research. Have great critical thinking skills. And last but not least, above all else, you guys, please stay safe out there, okay? Bye, you guys.